That evening, sitting in the little hotel room by yourself with Gary, I realized life shocks you are unpredictable. Already I was anxious as my husband Logan had been abroad for several months in another city. I missed him certainly, but it wasn't just about his not being around. It was his negligence, his lack of interest. That was the true problem. Though lonely evenings were eating away at my soul, how could I have realized that asking my stepson Gary to bring me to your dad would result in us cooped in a small hotel room with one bed? What was going to happen eluded me. Allow me to cover every minute detail from the very beginning. I promise you, the conclusion of this narrative will be far more fascinating than you could ever imagine. I glanced quickly in the mirror that morning as I was leaving the house. I was tense, certainly, but I still looked fantastic. Even with Logan leaving me so alone, I still felt attractive, still felt alive. But even those sensations weren't enough anymore. They didn't please me. Gary was finishing his breakfast in the kitchen when I yelled out from behind, "I know you enter college at the end of the summer, but you still have to improve your driving. Come on, take me to your dad." He looked up at me, the same mischievous grin on his face he always wore. Gary was a nice kid, with a quirky, hilarious side. Yet he could be such a little rascal at times. "All fine, stepmom," he said taunting, "but on one condition. Tell Dad to purchase me a nicer automobile for the summer. We'll speak about it," I replied forcefully, ushering him off. Inside, though, I was simply thinking, let's just get this journey over with. But I had no notion the voyage wouldn't go as planned. We'd been driving for nearly 2 hours. I was in the back seat, fooling around on my phone, while Gary sang along to some odd song on the radio, tossing out ridiculous quips every now and then that just made him chuckle. Then all of a sudden, the automobile produced this dreadful sound, a hiss, and then died altogether. "What's happening?" I asked, trying not to seem too spooked out. "I guess the car broke down," Gary murmured, pulling over to the side of the road, evidently angry. So there we were, trapped in the middle of nowhere. The signal on my phone was hardly there, and there wasn't anyone nearby to help. We spent 2 hours fighting, phoning every technician we could locate, and attempting to fix the blasted thing. Finally, we had to accept the obvious. The only choice was to spend the night at the closest hotel. At the motel reception, as Gary chatted with the person at the desk, I stood behind him, annoyed as hell. If Logan learns about this, he's going to lose it, I thought. But curiously, in that moment, I didn't feel like it mattered all that much. Deep down, I simply knew tonight was going to alter things. Before this tale gets weirder, make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on those alerts. Trust me, you don't want to miss the remainder of this. By the end of it, I'd want to see your support in the comments, and with those likes. When we went to the room and opened the door, all my expectations crashed and burned. The area was small, hardly big enough to spin around in. One bed, one nightstand, a weak flickering overhead light that made everything appear dismal. The ceiling seemed low. The AC hardly functioned, and the one little window merely faced the parking lot. "This is it?" I mumbled, dissatisfied. Gary stepped in behind me, chuckling. "What were you expecting? A 5-star hotel? We're simply here for one night. Relax, stepmom." His mocking tone in his speech, along with his cheeky grin, just made my aggravation greater. But at the same time, I couldn't say I fully loathed Gary's carefree, laid-back attitude. Being around him, even though I'd never acknowledge it, aroused something inside me, a kind of exhilaration I didn't really understand. "This heat is killing me," I murmured, stroking the back of my neck. "I believe I need a shower, or I'm truly going to pass out." "Certainly, certainly," Gary responded nonchalantly, flinging himself onto the bed. and resting flat on his back. "This is your domain, Carmen. Do everything you need to feel at home." I gazed at him for a second. His thin yet toned form, along with the subtle boyishness of his features, gave him a weird kind of attractiveness. But I instantly attempted to throw the concept out of my brain. He was Logan's kid, after all. My stepson. I walked into the bathroom and slammed the door behind me. For a time, I just gazed at my reflection in the mirror. My hair was plastered to my skin from the heat, yet I still looked nice. I still had that spark. Turning the shower on, I let the water run and walked under it, thinking it would wash away the tangle of emotions rising up inside me. I'm 47 years old, I thought. And Gary? Gary's not a kid anymore. He's 22, preparing to start college. And here we are, imprisoned together in this little motel room for a few days. The concept both troubled and aroused me in a manner I couldn't quite define. Logan popped into my head. "Logan, I wanted to surprise you. I wanted to come visit you, to be with you. But now I'm here, imprisoned in this hotel room, with your son, and I don't know how to feel about it." The steam from the shower filled the small bathroom, the heat calming my body, even as my mind raced. Gary's grin, his easygoing personality. It was kindling something unexpected inside me. Standing under the stream of water, I couldn't tell what this spark may turn into, but I felt something was happening. Later, I decided to walk downstairs for supper and clear my thoughts a bit. I threw on a simple flowing outfit. It was ideal for the heat, but it also made me feel a bit more at ease, like I was trying to shake off this odd tightness. The hotel restaurant was modest but homey, suited for a setting this tiny. I ordered a light lunch and a glass of wine, believing it would help me relax. The sun had fallen, and the streetlights outside the motel were twinkling softly. Sitting there, I couldn't stop my thoughts from going back to the room upstairs. I wonder what Gary's up to right now, I wondered. Someone as restless and full of energy as him surely wasn't having much fun being imprisoned up in a tight room. But nevertheless, that casual attitude of his, so effortless, so carefree, was driving me mad in a manner I couldn't quite describe. When my wine was gone, I gave my dish a final glance and made my way upstairs, taking deliberate steps. When I approached the room, everything was extremely calm. I opened the door, and the image that confronted me left me briefly breathless. Gary had taken a shower and was resting on the bed in just a robe, utterly knocked out. His half-open robe displayed most of his slender, athletic figure. His moist hair fell over his forehead, and there was a small grin on his lips. Like he was dreaming. My heart started pumping. It was the last thing I anticipated to walk into. For a second, I hesitated beside the entrance, unsure of what to do. Inside me, there was this odd combination of feelings. I felt uncomfortable, but I couldn't take my eyes off him. "Carmen, what the heck are you doing?" "That's Logan's son," I reprimanded myself mentally. But my eyes deceived me, drawn to the section of his robe that had slid more apart. What I saw aroused something warm inside me. The limited size of the room only made matters worse. There wasn't another bed. It was either sleep close to him or spend the remainder of the night in a chair. And in this heat, the concept of a chair seemed inconceivable. I moved inside the room carefully, Gary's steady, regular breathing filling the area. I took a long breath, attempting to focus, but the pandemonium inside me made it difficult to think clearly. I had to get myself together. "Okay, Carmen," I mumbled to myself. "It's only one night. Nothing more. This doesn't imply anything. I intended to surprise Logan, and now I'm stuck here. Be sensible. Keep it together." I took a few steps nearer the bed and stared at Gary. The innocent smile on his face just made my already convoluted thoughts even more difficult. I sat down on the side of the bed, wondering how I was going to make it through the night. In the middle of the night, a faint sound woke me up. I barely opened my eyes, just enough to search the room. I observed Gary shifting on the bed. He appeared half sleepy, running his hands through his hair and scratching his head softly. I found myself watching him, but I kept my eyes just slightly open, pretending to still be tired. Inside, though, I felt everything from tranquil. Then I felt it. His eyes are on me. My heart started racing. He was observing me. I attempted to keep up the act, maintaining the drowsy expression on my